everyone, and welcome to the StackVision 6.14 in a Nutshell webinar. It is my pleasure to introduce Senior QA Engineer Michelle Staniff, who has been with ESC Spectrum for 9 years. She's going to tell you all about the exciting new features and improvements in StackVision 6.14. Take it away, Michelle.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. I'm going to be covering the new features and bug fixes in StackVision 6.14. Please note that the 6.14 general release download has been disabled because we're investigating an issue with the average data multi-interval report. We will release 6.14 R1 as soon as possible next week. Here are our installation requirements. As of the end of this month, you must have Windows Server 2016 or later and SQL Server 2016 or later. .NET 4.8 will be required with the September release of StackVision. The end of support extension. Windows Servers 2012 and 2012 R2 are not supported in StackVision 6.14. We will also be discontinuing support for Windows 7 effective June 2022. Here is the technology timeline showing the end of support for our platforms. If you participated in beta testing, we really appreciate your time, and your feedback helps to make StackVision even better. Beta testing gives you an advanced look at new StackVision features before they're released. We can set up a screen share with you if you don't have access to a test server. So let's start with the new features in StackVision 6.14. Client Launcher. Add the ability to sort the server list in StackVision with configuration. The old behavior was that new servers appeared at the bottom of the list, which meant that as the list grew, you had to scroll through the old servers before seeing the new servers. Now, the list of servers in the StackVision server drop-down list display in alphabetical order. Client Launcher. Prevent automatic update in StackVision with configuration settings when clicking off the server name. Previously, a StackVision with configuration settings automatically updated when a user clicked off the server name. So it was possible to accidentally change the report server URL and the report server credentials without noticing. Now, the report server URL and username do not auto-update when server name is changed. Old Data Lab. No more shuffling around all displayed fields when data is re-retrieved. The purpose of this change was to resolve issues like grid columns changing position after re-retrieving data. Here we see the table on the top after retrieving data, the middle table after reorganizing columns, and the same table on the bottom after re-retrieving data. And you can see in the bottom table that the PARM02 value field is squeezed between two PARM01 fields after the second retrieval. In 6.14, the bottom table is identical to the top table, which is expected behavior after removing a parameter selection and adding it back again. Opacity test. Change double passed ints to divide OPLR by 2. This change was done because some sites have double pass ints but don't utilize the new checkbox. Renaming the checkbox divide OPLR by half will hopefully reduce confusion on reports. The name change is in both the opacity test editor and in the opacity test report. Here you can see an example of the opacity test editor before and after the name change. And here's an example of the opacity test report before and after the change. OPC UA, hold average values over interval blocks. The OPC UA server was not built with any logic to detect a change in the database. It just hits the database every 10 seconds to get the most recent complete time interval, in this case, the previous minute, and pushes it out. So devices reading values from us had block patterns where values tank to -999, then to some value, then repeat. -999 value had been an issue for a long time. The OPC UA server now uses non-default records to ensure data values remain consistent between reads. Values will be held from the last valid poll to the next poll in the new minute. Reports. Average data multi-interval report. This report was added to StackVision so that it can be accessed by all users. When upgrading from a previous version of StackVision that had these report parameters configured in SQL, the parameters will now appear in the new Stack Studio editor in a group named default. If you did not have any previously configured parameters and wish to add new ones, you first add a new group by clicking the green add icon. Group names are limited to 50 characters and must be unique. To add a new parameter, click the green add icon and select your source, parameter, and interval from the dialog. The new report displays at the root level of StackVision reports. The report shows the common names for time intervals instead of the short form and includes the option to display the limits which are set in the Stack Studio editor. You can also create a linked report which allows you to select a group based upon the groups configured in the editor. QA test deadlines as a report. The purpose of this change is that QA test deadlines as a report offers much more flexibility than a fixed UI screen. And we also added alarm support. Where do you find the new QA test deadline report? It's under Reports, QA, and Certification. Here's an example report, which includes the options of exporting to multiple formats, printing, customizing, creating a linked report, and scheduling in the Task Scheduler wizard. The QA test deadlines alarm is configured in Stack Studio, System Settings, Alarm Messages. The alarm is automatically added during an upgrade or new install, and you're able to send an acknowledgement to Logbook and to require a reason code when these are enabled. In process now, the QA test deadline task now includes an A switch to enable an alarm. You will need to run the sequence with the switch before the alarms will trigger. And here's a list of the tests that will trigger the QA test deadline alarm. QA test deadlines, support for CGA and permit RADA parameters. Previously, StackVision did not consider whether the COPPM permit RADA was complete when scheduling the COLO, COHI, CGA, since these are different test parameters. Now, StackVision supports this scenario where CGA parameters are COLO and COHI, but the permit RADA parameters is COPPM. The RADA and linearity editor now includes a new field labeled linked RADA parameter. And here is an example of the CGA parameters linked to the permit RADA parameter. Reports. Provide option to hide all references to load in RADA test report. Here you see the new Show Load checkbox in the RADA test report. The screenshot on the right shows a sample report when the Show Load box is checked, and on the left when it's unchecked. Reports. Provide a count feature on average data query report. A new field labeled count has been added in the report that identifies the total number of data points for the parameter and time period selected in the report setup. Reports. Allow ACA report to display percent of standard results. If the concentration results is empty, the percent of standard is now shown on the report. There are also two other columns added to the MATS ACA data table, and that's injection percent of standard and injection value correlated. ACA report changes. The difference column has been removed in 6.14. Here, the percent of standard is shown because the correlated value is 0 or null. Bug fixes. Target averages for multi-interval averages displays bad connection. The message bad connection was displaying instead of the target average for multi-interval averages. Now, the target average displays for multi-interval averages for all interval levels. The StackVision installer is not removing old versions of StackVision. Previously, when upgrading from StackVision 6.12 or 6.13, old versions of StackVision continue to display in the control panel programs. This does not affect a user accessing StackVision, but it does take up disk space. Now, only the currently installed version of StackVision displays. And if you need help removing old StackVision versions, contact support. Avoid unnecessary drop and re-add constraints for database migration. During StackVision upgrades, a SQL script runs in the background. In 6.14, this script has been cleaned up and shortened. The fix prevents a long upgrade only if you are upgrading from 6.12 and earlier. It won't affect upgrades from 6.13. Logbook. Entries use workstation time instead of StackVision server time. This bug was that the timestamp from the client machine was used when adding automatic logbook entries for cylinder management. This problem also occurred when adding automatic entries for updates in Beta Data Lab. Now, the server time is used as the timestamp for cylinder management entries, as well as for Data Lab entries. Performance Summary Report. Remove asterisk. Previously, an asterisk displayed in the percent operating time column whether the Show Equation checkbox was enabled or disabled. The asterisk now appears only when the Show Equation box is checked. Exceeds events duration with total option. An issue is found in the 6.12 reports where the value in the max value report column repeated for different exceedance events. Now, the exceedance events duration and exceedance events multi-interval reports display the correct max value. Sorbent trap. Fail to save a passing train when Hg concentration is less than 0.2 and breakthrough is greater than 10%. Previously, if you tried to save a sorbent trap record with Hg concentration less than 0.2 and breakthrough greater than 10%, you would get an error. Now you can save the record successfully. Performance Summary Report parameters time online is being removed on save. Here is an example showing the operating parameter that displayed before saving to the server, no longer displaying after the save. Now the parameters before saving to the server continue to display correctly after saving. Stack Studio saves. Multi-conditional time online outputs open after server reboots. A bug has been fixed that caused some data controller time online output channels to unexpectedly open after saving configuration changes to the server or when rebooting the server. Now, the multi-conditional time online output stays in its closed state during the server reboot. Okay, that is it for the 6.14 new features and bugs. Are there any questions?
If anybody has any questions, please use the questions pane, which you should see to the right in your GoToWebinar panel. And if you go ahead and submit those, I will read them out loud for Michelle and she will answer them. Just a note, we will also be editing this webinar and posting it and sending it out to everyone who has signed up. So there will be a link available if you need to go back and review anything. So any questions, please submit them now, and Michelle will answer them. There sure is a lot in this release, Michelle. I'm sure everyone's minds are just blown and they're trying to process the information right now. Well, if you do end up having questions, you can always contact customer support or Michelle or any of us at any time, and we will make sure that they get answered. Okay, I do see one now. So someone is asking that and stating that StackVision 6.14 was stated as Windows Server 2012 compatible during the user group. However, in this presentation, it was stated that it was not. Can you let us know for sure if Windows Server 2012 is compatible with 6.14?
We officially end support for Windows 2012 and 2012 R2 on March 31st. So we tested 6.14 with Windows Server 2016 and 2019. So officially it is not compatible with Windows 2012, but that is not to say it does not work. We just did not include that in our testing.
Okay, we've got another one here. Can you review the exceedance events report bug that was fixed where the max value showed incorrectly? It was about 2 slides back.
Okay. I will have to get back with you on that. That was the exceedance. Let me see if I can find that.
Wasn't really a specific question, more just could you go over that part again?
Other than what I have in the slides, I don't have any more detail, but I can always get it and get back to you.
Okay. Whoever asked that question, if you want to be more specific about your inquiry, then that might help Michelle answer your question better. Oh, he says he just wanted to see the slides again.
Oh, okay. And that was the max value bug. Let me see if I can find
the exceedance events report bug that was fixed where the max value showed incorrectly.
Okay, let me see if I can find. I don't know if I'm going in the. I think maybe it was this way. Max value. Okay. Is this it?
That looks like it.
Okay. Yes, it looked like in previous versions, the max value, the report column repeated for different exceedance events. The value was not always correct.
It sounds like somebody had an issue with that at one of their plants. So it's good that y'all took care of it.
Okay, good. Yeah, it should display the correct value now.
Okay, great. I've got another comment again relating back to the server situation. Are there any plans to test it? The statement is, as 6.14 was released prior to 3/31/21, when the 2012 R2 support was stopped for the SQL Server, why was that version not tested?
Okay, I will have to defer that and get back to you on that.
Okay, so yeah, to the person that asked that, we will definitely have someone get back to you that can answer that question in a better way. Someone asked, will this session be recorded? Yes, it will. We're recording the webinar. We will edit it within the week, and we will send it out to everyone so you can listen to it as many times as you would like. Any other questions? Send them in. Okay. Okay, here's another one. Can you show the slide with the sorbent trap error fixed?
Yes, I can. Let me find that. Here we go. Okay, previously, before StackVision 6.14, if you tried to save a sorbent trap record with the Hg concentration less than 0.2 and the breakthrough greater than 10%, you would get an error, similar to the one shown here on the screen. But now in 6.14, you can save that same record without getting an error. Does that help?
Okay, does anybody else have any questions or comments for Michelle? I had a couple of people ask about more of a beginner's type of training for StackVision. And so I do want to let everybody know that next week, Mark Astadio, our trainer extraordinaire, is doing a SIMS new user training. So if anyone here is a new user, I would encourage you to go to our website and sign up for that training. Sign up for that cuts off at 5 p.m. today. So let's make sure that we get you registered before that time. It takes place next week. Also, if anybody is a new user, we just rolled out a StackVision new user training. It's sort of a self-paced program with learning modules that's all online. And I would help you get set up for that. So you can email me. It's awilson@escspectrum.com, and I can get you set up for that as well. So there's lots of options for folks who are new to StackVision, because it's a lot. All right, let's see here. I don't see any other questions, Michelle, so I think we can wrap it up.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining the webinar.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Have a great day, everybody.